When people ask me, would I recommend investing in email marketing, I always say start with email marketing. That is now representing probably certainly hundreds of thousands, if not over $1 million a year of additional revenue through email. It's not about price, it's about value. Where's the best value rather than the best price?
Here's how we helped Justin from Chief Nutrition earn an extra $1 million without paying additionally for ads by optimizing his Klaviyo account.
My name's Justin. I'm one of the co-founders of Chief Nutrition. We're a healthy snacking and supplement company based in Sydney, Australia.
When did we start working together? How long have we been working together?
You'll have to remind me. When did we start? Was it May last year?
Yeah, I think it was May, June last year. So it's been, what, a year?
It's been a year, yeah.
Why were you looking for help with email and retention marketing to begin with?
I guess I always sensed that we weren't maximizing our opportunity in email, and we work so hard and spend a lot of money acquiring a customer, and I felt like we weren't necessarily making the most of that customer. And you could see it in, I guess I got some clues because we put in some flows and we improved our retention rate. I knew we didn't have that many flows, and we kind of made it up as we went based on a little bit of research. And so I had some early signs that this was worth investing in. And I guess in chatting with you, Ilko, one of the things that came out of that is that our percentage of revenue from email was around about 20%. And I think you mentioned at the time, 30% is good and 40% is great. And so I did a little bit of back of napkin calculation and figured out what that meant in terms of revenue. And it was a bit of a no-brainer to take the steps to make sure that we could improve our percentage of revenue. I'm sure you're going to ask me this later, but I'll say it now. We've more than doubled where we were at in terms on a percentage basis, and we've grown a lot. So I dare say that is now representing probably certainly hundreds of thousands, if not over $1 million a year of additional revenue through email.
I'm glad you feel comfortable sharing the numbers. I actually looked at the numbers, and if you don't mind me sharing, if you do, I'm just gonna cut off this part of the video, but it's almost $1 million. It's 30 grand short of $1 million for the past 12 months.
Yeah.
And the account has grown so much for just 12 months. It's unbelievable. Yeah. And it's all... Yeah, please go ahead.
I was just going to add to that. I think that when people ask me, would I recommend investing in email marketing, I always say start with email marketing because everything else works harder. So if you save it for last and you spend all of your money on acquisition, then the value of every dollar of revenue from acquisition is worth less than, the value of every customer from acquisition is worth less to you. So before you spend on acquisition, I think you should spend on retention and email marketing. And one of the other things that was really appealing for me in working with you was that most of the gains, the majority of the gains have been from flows. And so, yes, we will keep improving them. And yes, that you're never quite finished optimizing your flows, but a big chunk, it's the old 80-20 rule, right? 20% of your effort gives you 80% of your results. So I feel like right at the beginning, that 20% of the work has given us 80% of the results, and that's mostly on flows. And the reason that that's important is that it's not like a campaign where, let's say you deliver an amazing campaign that for us might generate $20,000 of revenue. With a flow, we have flows generating $20,000 or more of revenue, but it's delivering that every single month. And it's only growing as our customer base grows because we're continuing to scale our ads, continuing to scale our customer base and our revenue. And so the value of that work, the value of that investment becomes bigger and bigger and bigger over time.
I completely agree. So the more you invest in ads, that $20,000 is actually going to turn into $30,000, $40,000, and that's going to be predictable income that comes to your bank account every single month, that you don't have to do a whole of a lot more to optimize and keep the great results up.
It's more efficient because it's we're not spending advertising dollars to win that revenue. We've just got a much better engagement strategy for the customers that are already decided to engage with us. Yeah, I think we're doing a much better job of explaining who we are, explaining what sort of products we have, the benefits of those products, and as a result, people are much more sticky. And that's the name of the game. So, we all know if 100% of people stay as customers and you keep adding new customers in at the top, you will scale extremely quickly. So yeah, retention is the name of the game for sure.
And were there any initial challenges that you had faced when you started looking for solutions, or was it more you didn't even realize the power of email marketing, and then when we met, you immediately made that decision that...
Look, I didn't know, because I didn't have any benchmarks. That's probably the biggest challenge, doing something for the first time, is you don't know what good looks like.
Yeah.
And so there's no way to objectively measure, okay, well, if I spend X dollars, I'm going to get Y result, So being able to get some benchmarks from you and say, okay, well, if that is true, I could very easily put a dollar amount around that. And then, we were still getting a great return if I halved the expectation you'd set in my mind. So it became very easy to know that I would get a good return on the investment. And because email is quite contained as well, it's really just Klaviyo, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like we're touching all different parts of our website and our creative and our ads on Meta and Google. It quite quickly, it becomes difficult to unravel all of that and engage someone for a small project. So we really engaged on quite a small project initially, because it was easy to say yes to that, because it's quite contained within email. So I think all of those sorts of things made it easy to say yes. And I guess to go back to your question, I didn't really know. I do now, but I didn't really know at the time what sort of impact we could have there.
Being I don't know if you mentioned, but you're the co-founder of Chief. So being the co-founder of Chief puts a lot of responsibilities on your plate, and you have to really understand, at least on a high level, what conversion rate optimization looks like on your website, what paid ads look like, what email marketing looks like, and what content creation looks like, and all those sorts of things. So you have to, as a co-founder, your role is to know a little bit about everything, really. And it's not, I mean, from my point of view, I feel like it's not possible to know all of the little nuances and details about every single part of this business that you have to run.
Yeah, look, I totally agree. My approach is pretty straightforward. I will do my best by myself. And I find, it's different for everyone. Like my wife, Libby, has got an amazing skills that I don't have, but systems is not one of them. So I find systems relatively easy and enjoyable, because I'm weird like that. And but because of that, when it comes to systems like Klaviyo or Shopify or those sorts of things, I'll dive in the deep end and just try and figure it out, and I'll do an okay job. But in doing an okay job, I know enough to figure out what's important and understand how different metrics like conversion rate or retention rate or average order value or lifetime value are important, and then figure out ways to take the foundation that I've built to a new level. And usually what I will do is get an expert to take it to the next level, like you in our Klaviyo account. And it's a bit of a hybrid model. It's we're operating it, you're coming in and guiding us and operating it a little bit, but really we're getting educated as we learn from you and we get guidance from you. And so we're not outsourcing all of the IP. We're still retaining a lot of that IP within our team, which is important, I think. I don't think it's right to abdicate. It's certainly not my approach to abdicate responsibility for different things. I do that sometimes. I kind of abdicate responsibility for, let's say, Meta advertising. It seems to be and I have done Meta advertising before myself. I think when you are spending advertising dollars, you can get into trouble very quickly, and you can spend too much, or you can spend too much without enough of a return, and it can really hurt. So that's probably the most I will abdicate responsibility to someone, to say, you guys sort it out, and as long as the bottom line makes sense, I'm happy. But everything else within the business, I tend to get quite heavily involved in, just so that I can understand it. And Klaviyo's and email marketing, I think, is absolutely in that same category. Because I think part of it is you don't know our business as well as we do. I've been doing it for almost 9 years. So it's impossible for me to expect you to come in and pitch our business as well as I can, or our team can. I think what really worked well for us is, you're setting up, this is how flows should look, this is best practice, and then I'm colouring it in, and colouring it in terms of the right images, the right language, the right message at the right time. Because sometimes, my experience has been that, that flow is right, but the message probably didn't quite suit our audience, which how could you know? And so I had to kind of move a little bit of stuff around, but that's the way it's got to work. To draw an analogy, I get a lot of friends who work with media buying agencies, and they say, "Oh, my media agency's terrible, and we're wasting so much money." And invariably, it's because they have abdicated responsibility and they expect this agency to just solve all of their problems and do it without any guidance. And the only thing that works, in my view, is to get very enmeshed into each other's teams. They've got to be part of your team. You've got to be part of their team. They've got to understand what you do. You've got to understand what they do. And we're doing that now on our media buying and our creative. It's very enmeshed, and we're getting much the best results we ever have. And I'd say my advice to anyone working with you as well, Elko, would be to actively engage. Don't just think that you can brush your hands of it and magic is going to pop out the other end. It's not how it works.
I am very happy that you touched on this topic, because I think it's something that is very important for more people to understand. First of all, yes, that is something very important for people to know, is that we were working on a partnership basis where we were working together. So kind of on a done with you rather than on a done for you basis, which is, I believe, especially for a big and successful business like yours, I think this is the best approach. So we were part of your team, really. We were like an extension of your team, where we were working together to achieve these amazing results. And this is a great opportunity for me now to say that, Justin, I am completely candid when I say that if it hadn't been for your cooperation, we wouldn't have achieved those results. And I can say this full-blown honesty. I know that we wouldn't have, because we've worked with other partners that have, how'd you put it? Abandoned their responsibility to us, just abdicated the responsibility to us completely, and they expect exactly for us to flip their entire business around, but it's not how it works. You said it yourself. Yes. You know your business the best way. We can come and help you turn your good business into a great performing business, double the revenue. Yes. This is what we can do.
I should say, sometimes the business owner will have no choice.
Yeah, right? When they're a beginner, I've noticed when they're more in the beginner stage of running their business, they just have so many things to learn. I completely 100%. Understand. I completely understand.
And so that like someone else's path isn't always the best path for you, right? So I can see, if I was at an earlier stage and I didn't have time and I just need a good foundation of email marketing, I can see that you could come in and have a strong impact. It wouldn't be the same percentage growth probably as we've had. And email really adds, the bigger you are, the more value you'll get from spending time and money on improving your ecosystem that looks after your customers, right? If you've got 1 million customers versus 100 customers, it's going to be different. So, but I equally see value if you only got 100 customers or no customers, getting your Klaviyo account set up the right way from day dot, because there was a lot of undoing work that you and I had to do, and turning things off and deprecating different flows. And geez, it would have been nice to just do it right from day one. And I think there's a lot of value in that too. But even if you're doing that, I would definitely encourage anyone to take the time to roll up the sleeves and get into the detail, because that's where the true value will come over time.
What was the primary reason you decided to go with working with myself and my team specifically?
Well, look, I can talk about that. So I guess the key reason we chose to go with you was, A, you gave me a lot of confidence out of the gate that you knew what you were talking about. But B, as I alluded to or talked about before, because you were able to provide some benchmark data, it became a very simple equation to give myself confidence that we would, at worst, break even on spending the money and the time.
And how did it
And
turn
so-
out?
and at best get an amazing return on investment. And we got an amazing return on investment. That's how it
Yes,
turned
that
out.
was exactly what I was gonna ask.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I always, that's the decisions that every business owner or entrepreneur or however you want to say it has got to face every day. You're the same. Okay, you run your own business.
Yeah.
It's like, how confident am I in spending this dollar that I'm going to get more than a dollar back?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that makes it easy is that if conservatively you think you're going to get a 10x return, it becomes very easy to say yes, because if you're wrong if you're 50% wrong, you still get a 5 times return, right? And I'm not saying we got a 10 times return. We probably got more than that. I haven't done the numbers, but yeah, being able to just run the ruler over that. It's not about price, it's about value, right? So there's a breaking point. Like if someone quotes me $100,000 and I just don't have $100,000 to spend, then that's just that's just what it is. But if someone quotes me $10,000 versus $1,000, but $10,000 can deliver me $100,000 versus $1,000 delivering me $5,000, well, I'm going to go with the more expensive option because it provides more value. And that's what you've got to do every day, I think, is look at all of the available options for you and stack rank them based on what's going to give you the biggest return in the shortest amount of time and prioritize that. Sometimes for the least amount of effort, sometimes it's not about effort, sometimes it's a combination of factors. So, but if you do, I've got a good mate who's a business coach. I always remembered this thing that he said is that where most business owners go wrong is they've got 100 things to do at any one time, and they'll do number 14, number 82, number 65, number 30, number 99, and that's where they go wrong. Whereas if they just knew that I'll do number 1 and then number 2 and number 3 and number 4, they'd be much more successful. Because it's kind of like putting email marketing first, right? If you do that, everything else gets easier. So because our email marketing is now performing, every dollar we spend on advertising means we're getting more revenue from that customer, we're getting more margin, we've got more money to spend on acquisition. It's a flywheel of growth. Everything's working better versus everything working in a suboptimal way, even if our advertising is crushing it. So I think it's all about putting things in the right order and making that sort of decision around where's the best value rather than the best price.
Adding to that and putting that into numbers, how is our work comparing to your expectations in terms of measurable results?
Well, I think I've already said we've got definitely, I haven't even run the numbers on the ROI, but it's been so obvious that I haven't even bothered to figure it out. So our percentage of revenue has been as high as 45%. It's down a little bit at the moment to 39%, which is still exceptional.
Down a little bit.
Down a little bit because of public holidays and people being away, and obviously people don't read emails when there's holidays on, so they don't read them as much. So that's been down, but I'd say on average it's probably around 45% of our revenue is through email. Yeah, that completely changes our unit economics, right? So because we look at overall online revenue, and then we look at, in a very basic way, I look at media efficiency ratio. So if I spend $1 on advertising, I want $5 of revenue. So being able to achieve that 5 MER is so much easier because such a higher proportion of our revenue is now coming through email. And the reason MER is a nice, easy metric to manage the business is I know that if I can hit a 5 MER, I can spit out X percentage of net profit after all said and done. It just becomes a very easy yardstick to know that we're not overspending on advertising and that we're, it makes it obvious what parts of our business we need to optimize to achieve the sort of metrics that means that we can continue scaling at the rate that we are, theoretically infinitely, because it's profitable scale, profitable growth. So and those different parts of the puzzle are obviously advertising, creative is a big part of that. That's a whole nother topic, but email marketing, SMS marketing, conversion rate optimization on the website, average order value, and driving that through bundles and upsells and those sorts of things. So it becomes very obvious how to hit that sort of metric because it's such a nice, simple one.
What do you enjoy most about our collaboration?
I am a big believer of working with partners that you just get on with. We often have a great chat about stuff that's not about the account, whether it's, other things that you're doing or other things that I'm doing. And it just makes it more enjoyable, mate, to be honest, at the end of the day. Life's too short to work with people that you don't enjoy. I often am late to meetings with you, and you're always very kind about it. So I apologise for all of that. So that's. I know that, and that sounds like such a small thing, but it's really important for me. I just find that, yeah, partnerships work better when you get on. So that's probably the key thing. And you've definitely gone above and beyond, and looking after us and doing stuff for free that, you know, is kind of outside of scope. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And full honesty, it's likewise. And this is the way I've been raised. Obviously, I've shared with you that I've been raised in the family of business owners, and my family also has a business where I'm also the marketing director there. And this is the mentality that I've been kind of raised with, is that you're kind of almost like a mirror of what other people treat you. And so when they treat you nicely, you tend to treat them nicely back. So what I can say is with full confidence, all of our clients are extremely respectful.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I thank you for
no,
that.
Good job, mate. I'm very, very impressed.
One last question before we call it a day for this interview would be, what would you say to someone that is considering to work with us but is hesitant about making the commitment?
If someone's hesitant about making a commitment with you guys, I would definitely suggest to do what I did, obviously. I would look at, I'd just do the numbers. What percentage is realistic, and what does that represent in terms of additional revenue, and what is the cost of working on that, you know, on things to get to that additional revenue. Obviously, you need to take into account your margin. And if you're a 1x return or better in a conservative case, then it's worth moving ahead. It will probably be far in excess of a 1x return. I think a 10x is very achievable. So, I just suggest running the numbers. That's the simple answer.
Yeah, that's what we really do in business, don't we? We look at the numbers. Yeah. It's not rocket science, honestly. If I sit down with you for a week, you'll be able to do probably 50, 60, 70% of the things that I'm able to do, because it's not rocket science. We just look at the numbers and we do the things
But also, when you're looking at the numbers, think about flows, not campaigns. Because let's say you got an extra, I said the example before, if you got $20,000 extra from a campaign, geez, that'd be nice. But if you got $20,000 extra from a flow, this month, next month, the next month, the next month, the next month, $240,000 a year of extra revenue per year, that changes the way that you look at the investment, because I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. I mean, that could be $20,000 a month for the next 10 years, right? That's $2.4 million. You know, so when you look at the numbers, you've got to look at what the recurring revenue opportunity is, and that's the power of flows.
By the way, this was a very high-end business talk, not only about flows and email marketing, but business in general. So I'm sure that I personally thank you for your time.
All right, mate.
So it's been half an hour, but you're still not convinced if working together is the best idea. If that's the case, simply get in touch. We're going to be very honest. We have enough partners at this stage that we don't take someone unless we're fully 100% certain that we can help them. So what you can do is simply go to our website, scroll down, book a call, chat to us. And we're going to let you know how we can help you. Can we help you? And as you saw, we don't have to do everything for you, especially if you're a bigger business. We like to work with the business teams of our partners, with their service delivery team, with their content creation teams, with their copywriters, designers, etc., etc. And we're working really, really well together. I think we're doing a good job of just incorporating ourselves into the teams of our partners. And as you see, those are the results. If you decide that you want to talk to us, we're also going to give you actionable tips that you can implement. We're going to give you resources so that if you decide that you are at a beginner stage and you want to implement this on your own, then you have all of the resources to implement it on your own, get to a level where you need more professional help, and then that is when we step in. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and I will catch you in the next video.